Okay, you guys want to get started? Let me just put a note into the Mastering Lab group. Just let everybody know we're starting. Okay, here we go. Okay, hi. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Jeremy Chou. I'm a wedding photographer out of Southern California. I've been shooting for about 5 years. I'm a full-time wedding photographer. I do about 30 to 35 weddings a year. I started using Mastering Labs preset about I want to say about a year and a half ago to almost 2 years now. I was one of the really early beta testers for the preset. And once I started using the presets, I mean to be honest, I used to have Visco. Um, I got rid of Visco completely, so I edit with Master Labs presets 100% for about the last year and a half now. So why do I like it? It gives me a consistency of editing that I've never been able to get before. Like I said, I have Visco, but it was not consistent enough for me. It seems like when I apply the same preset, I would get different results even with the same lighting condition for whatever reason. But the preset Kurt has is really consistent, so that's why I use it. So I want to get started, just kind of philosophically kind of talk about why I shoot hybrid. So I am a hybrid photographer, which means I shoot both digital and film. Um, so you might ask why I shoot digital, why I shoot film. Well, I shoot digital just because that when I started, that's kind of what everybody had. I had a 5D Mark II when I started. Right now, I shoot with a 5D Mark III. I've always shot 35 millimeter film, but it's just for personal use. I've never done it for clients. Hang on. Okay, the people are logging in. Okay, here we go. All right. So, anyways, so I've always shot 35 millimeter film, but um, I've never done it for clients. So after I preset, I started shooting film about 2 years ago for clients, and just really fell in love with it. But there is definitely some limitation to what film can do. For example, here in Southern California, we have a lot of outdoor weddings, a lot of uh, wedding reception that's outside under the stars, or just little bistro lights. There is just not a lot of lighting to use film with. And granted, you can get some Portra 800 or black and white film, you can push it, but it's just really grainy and it's not really the result I want. So I still love shooting digital, but I also love the timeless look of film. There's just something about film that it's just there's some I came to describe it. A client once asked me what the difference was, and I couldn't really explain to them. I know I shoot film for myself. I don't shoot for clients. I shoot it because I like it. It makes me a better photographer. Um, I'm just thinking about each click. It's $2 per click. That will make you slow down real quick when you're just shooting and when you're just shooting a wedding. I shoot only about even when I used to shoot digital, I used to shoot only about I want to say 1,200 to 1,300 exposures per wedding for an 8-10 hour wedding. So I didn't shoot that much even as a digital shooter. Shooting film just makes sense for me. So I want to show you, kind of walk you through my process of how I shoot film. I'm sorry, of how I use the preset and what I do in camera that will maximize the preset and also minimize the amount of time that you spend editing. So here we go. So here's an example I like to use. This is one is film, one is digital. Film on the left, digital is on the right. We would never do this in a real world situation where we're gonna tell the client stand there and tell them, hold on, I'm gonna shoot you with my contacts first, and I'm gonna shoot you with my digital second. This I only do this because I know I was gonna do a comparison later, show the before, matching the my digital to film. Again, in real life, we would not do this. It's just taking twice as long to shoot. But as you can see, the mastering presets on the right. I'm a Fuji guy, Fuji 400. So this is edit with a Fuji preset. You can get about, I want to say about 98, 97% dialed in. There's just still something about film that you cannot get with digital. It doesn't matter how well you match it. But this is as close as you're ever gonna get. So here are a few in-camera tricks. I would say in-camera tricks that I do that kind of get the look that I want close to a film as possible in camera. So here I'm going to briefly go through this. So so first, I know there are a lot of different people that do things differently. This is just what works for me. This really minimized my editing time for a wedding, a 10-hour wedding. My edit time has been cut from, I want to say, about 8 hours down to about 4 hours now since I started using the preset. So first thing I do is exposure. I always meter for the shadow. So if I'm shooting a portrait, I'm metering for the spot right under the chin, which is the same way to tell you to how to meter for film. The only limitation with that is that you need to make sure you don't expose more than 2/3 up over what you're supposed to, over the in-camera meter. That I have a 5D Mark III. So make sure you don't shoot 2/3 over. The reason is that the preset actually looks like it brightens up the photos. All it does is actually turning down contrast and luminance, so it's making the picture appear brighter than what it is. So if obviously if you overshoot it, you can always bring it back down, bring the exposure back down in the post. But again, the idea of the presentation right now is just to show you guys how to shoot in camera to minimize the amount of editing that you need to do. So okay, first you meter for the shadow. And second, I pre-crop in camera. This is kind of interesting, and I didn't realize not a lot of people do this. So, and I'll show you how to do it in the next slide. But in the 5D Mark III camera, there is actually a way to pre-crop the camera. Pre-crop an image in camera. So when I import in Lightroom, it's the same 3:2 aspect ratio of the contacts. It's kind of cool. It's kind of neat trick. So that way you don't have to go back and crop every single photo. You can very easily just import it, and it will just automatically match all of your film scans, which is really helpful when you're dealing with like thousands of photos from a wedding. So next one is number 3. I always 100% of the time I shoot manual. I never shoot in P mode or aperture priority. It's always 100% manual all the time. It just gives him the best control over my photos, over my exposure. It's just what works for me. So next one is custom white balance. I know a lot of people shoot with auto white balance. Granted, if you shoot raw, you can always bring it back into Lightroom afterwards, and you can always fix it to whatever you like. But again, the point of the presentation is to how to minimize the amount of editing I need to do. So I pre-edit as much in camera as possible. And what I've found, again, in Southern California, we're blessed with the gorgeous daylight. We have soft light over here, so it's everybody talks about California light, and it is true. It's really pretty out here. So in daylight situation, I always shoot at 6,000 Kelvin. Okay, which is the cloudy setting on the Canon. I don't know what it is on Nikon. I'm sorry, but it's a cloudy setting on the Canon. 6,000 Kelvin if you want to do it manually. But I usually, after I apply the preset, I usually end up around 5,200 after the preset's applied. I don't know, for some reason, for 6,000, it appears kind of too warm once the preset's applied. And now you're gonna ask, why do I shoot at 6,000? So here's why. If I shoot at 5,200 in camera, and I'm chimping, I'm showing the clients what's in the camera. I tend to do that a lot just to kind of gain their confidence while we're shooting, so they know they look hot, and so they don't question me and all that. So I show them the photos behind the camera. At 5,200, it looks kind of blue. It will make the picture looks really cold. People tend to have a preference for warmer photos. They tend to associate warmer photo with happiness, with warmth, all that kind of fuzzy feelings that you get. So that's why I shoot at 6,000. But again, I usually end up around 5,200. Now next one is kind of big. So I shoot with a 50mm f1.2 lens 90% of the time throughout the day. I use it pretty much to shoot all the portraits, all the details, basically all the blogging image I shoot with a 1.2 lens. The aperture I use is locked in at f1.6. That it's pretty much I'm at 1.6 most of the day. The only time I get out of 1.6 is there's a doom reception. or during the ceremony when I'm using 70 to 200 lens when I'm shooting at f2.8 or f4. But other than that, all my portrait sessions, all engagement sessions, all the details is all shot f1.6. There are some articles you can search online. The 50mm actually is the same or very close to the focal length of the 80mm on the contacts. And I've experimented with different aperture, and I found f1.6 is probably the closest thing to a 2.0 you're gonna find with the digital camera. So that's kind of where my happy spot is, and I've been shooting this way for about 4 years now. People are gonna say, that's really, really difficult to show 1.6 and get it sharp, and you're absolutely correct. It's very difficult to do. But again, I've been shooting for about 4 years. I just really got used to it. So anyway, so now here the next one is the in-camera cropping. This is how I do it in 5D Mark III. So first of all, you have to make sure you're on aspect ratios 3.3 to 2. That's in the shoot 4. You can see this a little bit. You can probably screen capture this later so you can see it. But so make sure the aspect ratios are 3 to 2. And you're gonna go to your custom function number 3, others, and you're gonna say add cropping information. So from there, you're gonna change it to 3 to 4. Okay, so which is the same crop ratio as the contact 645. So when I get the scans back, I don't have to recrop my my digital files to match the scan. This saves me a lot of time by doing this. Okay, so this might be a little confusing. Again, you have to preset the crop aspect ratio in camera, and in the 5D Mark III, there's actually a blue line on 2 blue lines on either side of your LCD or your viewfinder that will kind of tell you that's the crop line. So you'll take a little bit of getting used to, but once you're used to it, it saves you so much time cropping afterwards. All right, and it's moving on. So all right, so the next big question I usually get is, so when do you shoot digital? When do you shoot film? So I'm not one of those film photographers where I have to shoot 100% film, or I'm not a good photographer. I get that. I respect people that can shoot 100% film. I'm just not one of those guys. There are times I think digital will still trump film when it comes to low light situation, when it comes to indoor, some crappy tungsten light, and I always need a flexibility to fix it later. So here's kind of basically what the breakdown is. So for film, it's usually the branding images. So this is the images that you'll see on my blog, mainly portraits and details. Sorry, getting a cup of coffee here. A sip of my coffee. So again, with the film photos, is basically what I call branding images. So everything you see on my blog, all the bride and groom portraits, all the floral details and everything, that's all shot on film, or as much as I can. If I sometimes go to a wedding, if the wedding is not, if it doesn't have good lighting, or if we're in a rush for time, where I don't know, whether my client, they're just done with photos, they want to move on, so I need to grab something real quick. I need to be sure that I get the shots I need, so I'll bring out my digital. But if they allow me the time to do it, I'll bring out my film camera and shoot with all film. So just really depends on the timeline of the day. So now digital is all the necessary photos that you have to take that you don't necessarily want to take, like family portraits, dancing photos, table shots. I shoot a lot of Asian weddings out here in California. So with the Asian weddings, the bride and groom tend to go to each table to visit, say hello to all the elders and family and friends and all that. And we just follow around each table. So it's not the most artistic shots, but you kind of have to get those shots. So for those shots, I shoot all those in digital. Okay. In other words, if we have an indoor ceremony or just indoor crappy tungsten light, that's all digital. It just gives me more latitude to fix it later when the light doesn't, when the white balance is not quite right, or stuff like that is when I shoot digital. So so the way I shoot film and to control cost, it's for every wedding, I only shoot about 5 to 10 rolls per film. It's 120 film. So I shoot only about 5 to 10 rolls per film, per wedding, I'm sorry. So my process is, let's say my wedding's on a Saturday, and then I love the Fine Lab. I know everybody has a preference, but I love the Fine Lab. So let's say my wedding is on a Saturday. I get home, I download the photos, I print out the labels, I write up my order form. So on Monday, I overnight it out to the Fine Lab. So Fine Lab is in Utah, so it would take about a day to get there. So on Monday, I'll send it out, and they'll get it basically by Tuesday. And I pay for overnight scan, 1 day scanning, so I'll get it back on Wednesday morning. So that way, I have the scans from the entire wedding back in my in my email inbox by about midday on Wednesday. So the reason why I can afford to do it is because I don't shoot the entire wedding in film. I know some film photographers shoot up to 120 or 120 rolls a wedding. Right around 100. I mean, that the cost on that will be astronomical if we start doing a overnight scanning. But 5 to 10, I can do it. So this is kind of what I tell my clients, where they will get the speed and reliability of digital, but the look of film. So this is kind of how I my workflow. So somebody asked what I kind of film I use. I typically shoot Fuji 400H. I rate it at 100 meter bulb in and facing the camera. So that's, you're gonna find a whole discussion on how to meter, but that's just kind of what I do, and it works for me. Okay, and also the reason I shoot Fuji, again, I shoot a lot of Asian clients. What I found is the portrait, because it's a warmer, more contrasty film, it tends to make my client's skin look very orange. So that's another reason I stick with Fuji and overexpose it, and it just kind of gives a light and airy look that I like. All right, moving on. So so here's its digital and film scan. I presented this at WPPI for Mastin Lab booth on the trade floor, but I don't actually remember which one digital, which one's film. I don't really remember. So I think the left is, I want to say the left is film, but I'm just not 100% sure. But anyways, that's a good example of a good match between digital and film. And that picture was taken at the hybrid workshop. The last one I did with Kirk Mastin himself. So now here going on. Okay, so another question I see in the group all the time is that people are saying they can't get the look, whatever that look is. So most film photographers you're going to talk to right now, the look would be the light and airy look, the kind of backlit or open shade, just kind of really pretty light, really pretty photo. So a lot of times when people say they're not getting the look with a preset, is usually because one of these 4 problems right here. Okay, so the first one is lighting. So if it's the wrong light, it doesn't really matter what kind of preset you use. It could be whatever you want. It's not going to save the image. If you have really harsh side lighting and there's like a blown out highlight and like huge contrast on the skin tone, and it's just not going to look good. So check the lighting first, and there really is nothing you can do if the lighting is wrong. So the second one is the aperture. So if you're trying to emulate that soft and airy look and you're shooting at f8, it's not going to get you there. The look that most people like or they're going after is a softer look. You can't get that with the f8 or really deep depth of field. That it's just not the same look. I mean, you could definitely, there are a lot of photographers that shoot, well into f8 or f11 even, but they do a really good job of doing it. But it won't get you that soft and airy look. To do that, you had to kind of shoot almost wide open. Again, I shoot at 1.6. So the number 3 is the scenery. A lot of people shoot inside, like an old warehouse or gymnasium, and just kind of dirty, kind of grungy looking background, and then they apply the film, the preset, and then they say it doesn't look filmy. A lot of times it really has to do with the scenery where you're shooting. If you're used to seeing like outdoor in the woods, running around the field with a rainbow and unicorn running behind them, the inside the warehouse look, it's not gonna look the same. So again, look at the background. Sometimes even if you in an urban situation where you're standing in front of a building as a background, it's just not gonna look the same. So the last one, and I think is the biggest problem, is you just don't shoot film. You don't need a film anchor image to use the Mastin preset. It will definitely be a lot easier if you know what to look for. without an anchor image, you kind of have to rely on your eye to get the colors correct. And the only way to do that is by shoot film or follow film photographer or get really understanding the difference between Fuji and portrait and just really understanding the color of it. So one thing we talked about in at the WPPI was, so what happens if you don't have an anchor image, right? So what I do is sometimes I just didn't shoot one. I'll actually either find something I've shot before with a similar lighting condition, or I just look online where there's quite a few film photographers I follow. I'll find a photo they have shot in a similar lighting condition. I'll try to match that, use that as my anchor image. Okay, but really try to shoot more film. I don't think I've shot more. I've shot more film after I started using a preset than ever before. It really makes it fun to shoot more film. So if you like the contrasty and warm look, which is kind of the Kirk Mastin special, he shoots a lot of portraits. It's definitely a warmer. It's a warmer, more contrasty look, and then I think it works for him in the Pacific Northwest in a Seattle area, and down here in Southern California with plenty of natural light. So I like the light and airy look. So that's Easy Fuji. So okay, now here's the workflow. So once I'm done with the wedding, I am importing all my raw files into Lightroom. So each one of your weddings should have its own catalog. If you're not doing that, you should. But that's another story. But but when I import my raw files, I apply the preset upon import. So I am already applying all the Fuji 400H. My go-to is Fuji 400H neutral. I apply that to every single photo upon import. Doesn't matter if it's reception, doesn't matter if it's indoor. I just apply to everything. So the next thing you want to do is when you're editing, you really should have an anchor image for each lighting condition. You know what, guys, hang on one second. There's somebody here that's, let's say they cannot see anything. Hang on one second. Okay, sorry, I just asked a question in the group. I hope everybody can see this right now. According to Google Hangout, there's about 83 people watching this right now. So if you can't see it, try the link again. It should come up, or just click on the YouTube link that's in the comments. I'll post the YouTube link one more time. Okay. All right, so here we go. So all right, so if you can't watch it, either click on the YouTube link or click on the Google Hangout link. One of them should work. All right, either way. All right, let's back to the workflow. So when you're shooting a wedding and you know you're gonna match it, you really should be shooting an anchor image in each lighting condition. So there is actually not a whole lot of lighting condition you get into on a wedding day. So when you're getting ready, you have the indoor tungsten light in the hotel room. So one of the tricks I do is once I get into the hotel room, I turn off all the lights and I move my bride to the window. So kind of like this black and white image you see here. I turn off all the lights, all the tungsten lights in the room, and move the bride to the window. So that's how you balance that light. That's just kind of good practice to get into. It doesn't matter if you shoot digital film. We just mixture of light sources is really difficult to balance afterwards. So you select an anchor image for each lighting condition. You have the hotel tungsten light. Then you have the outdoor portrait light, which is you generate open shade or backlit, that kind of lighting. And then you have the ceremony if it's outdoor, and the indoor you probably have the indoor either fluorescent or tungsten light again. And then you have the reception. So there's really only about 4 to 5 lighting conditions that you have to think about. And again, because I don't shoot any digital in the ballroom, the only anchor image I'm worried about is the outdoor shots if I'm gonna match it. Okay, so my adjustment process. So the first thing I adjust is exposure. So once I'm done with exposure, I do white balance and then tint. So exposure obviously is the brightness, how dark and bright the photo is. The white balance is your skin tone, And then 10 is I shoot a lot in trees in the field, so my photos tend to get pretty green, especially after I apply Fuji preset. Um, so I usually had to bump up the magenta, which is, magenta quite a bit to balance out the green. So I'll show a little example of that later. So after that, you apply the finer adjustment. The finer adjustment would be the all hard, all soft, shadow hard, and all that good stuff. So Kirk Mastin has actually modeled those settings after an actual Frontier scanner. So those are the same adjustments you'll find on the Frontier scanner. If you guys want to find booth doing WPPI, they actually have a scanner there that they will show you how they scan the photos. But again, so that's the step number 4 for me. Then after that, I do individual slider adjustment brush. If I really need to localize dodging and burning, I do that. Very rarely do I do that. And the last thing I do is apply grain. So you can either do 35 millimeter or medium format grain. I know a lot of photographers, they have a really high resolution camera. The medium format grain tend not to be enough for them, so they usually apply the 35 millimeter grain, 35 millimeter grain to the photos. Dana Fernandez, who's another presenter doing a WPPI booth, and that's what she does. Her camera, I forgot which one it was. She has a Nikon. She has really high resolution, so she always applies the 35 millimeter grain. All right, so next one. So here's here's how I choose when I use the finer adjustments. So here are all the ones that comes with a preset. First one's all hard. So all hard is basically in flat lighting condition. It's basically flat lighting. Basically, there's no contrast, there's no backlight, there's no front light, side light, nothing. It's just overcast day. So you use all hard to basically just bring out a little more contrast in the photos. And when we shot the stylized shoot at WPPI, it was overcast day, so I edited with all hard. All soft is when the image has very harsh highlights and shadows. So when you have when you have a photo that's kind of especially if the bride and groom, let's say during the wedding, the procession, or when they're going down the aisle, and then there's shadows, the trees, spotty lights everywhere. That's a time where you want to use all soft. It kind of evens out the lighting condition. It makes the dark shadows a little brighter, and then the hot spots on the photo a little brings back the detail just a little bit. Highlight hard. I don't really use this. I haven't really thought of a reason why to use it. So if somebody out there is using this, just feel free to let me know why. Highlight soft tend to blow out the details, the highlights. Especially the wedding dress. You get really pissed off bride if you blow out her details. So I don't use that. Now the next one, highlight soft. So highlight soft is when you actually accidentally blow out the details on the dress, and you want to bring that back. So you use the highlight soft. This has saved me a few times where I completely blow out a detail, and then I used the setting, actually brought it back. So shadow hard. Shadow hard it's kind of cool when you want to go with like really moody look, where some make the shadows really dark, and where the blacks are even blacker or more black. So that's what shadow hard is. Shadow soft, it brings back details in the blacks of the image. So when again, because I shoot out the Asian clients, they tend to have black hair. Sometimes it just looks really muddy. So I use shadow soft to bring back the details in the hair, in the strands of hair. That's why it doesn't just kind of look like a helmet on their head. So, all right. So next one, let me see next one here. So all right, so my next workshop is coming as on May 1st here in California, Orange County. This is all the photos I took from the venue that we're gonna have the workshop at, and as you can see, it's very and this is all digital, by the way. Someone left a comment say they thought it was all shot by contacts, but it's basically just, again, I want to illustrate what happens when you have pretty light. Look for even lighting. Consistent lighting, and make sure the exposure and light and then Lightroom is all dialed in. I'm sorry, your exposure and white balance, not Lightroom, your exposure and white balance are all dialed in. You get very consistent looking photo. the one I want to kind of draw your attention to, this one middle on the right hand side. You see how there's like really harsh shadow coming on one side on the right. I'm sorry, on the left. So you see this shadow under the arbor right here. So this one I definitely used all soft to bring back the details on the highlight, and also bring out the details that was in the dark down here. All right, and everything else, it's pretty much all soft on this photo. It just it's nice even lighting. You know, so it was a really good day to shoot there. All right, so here's kind of basically my workflow from start to finish. I'm gonna do some live editing right now. I'm gonna give it about 2-minute breaks if anybody wants to like grab water, bathroom breaks. So I'm gonna mute it about 2 minutes and I'll come right back. All right, I'm back. So hang on one second. Apparently it's not letting me share just Lightroom screen, so it's giving that infinite look right now. But hang on one second, let me try to fix this right now. So it's not okay. So it's not showing me like all the controls and everything. So let me try something else here. Ooh, that's a bummer. Hang on one second, guys. I'm not sure why it's doing that. Okay, hang on one second. I'm not sure why it's doing that. If anybody know how to fix that, this is my first time actually using Google Hangouts. So if anybody of you know how to fix that, go ahead, shoot me a private message on Facebook, or just go and make a comment on one of the posts in the group. Let me see if we can fix this. So the problem is when I'm sharing my screen with the Lightroom, only the catalog file shows up. I mean, only the library module shows up, but it's not showing up how I actually do the editing. And when I show full screen, when I shoot full when I shoot full screen, it's kind of like it goes to the infinite mode. So I'm gonna try this one more time. Not quite sure why it's doing that. So I think I can get it to work if I show the entire screen. Let me see if that works. Okay. Yeah, okay. All right. I think if I just minimize everything, it's actually gonna work. So bear with me here because I cannot see the rest of the screen right now. So just bear with me here, then I'll start doing my editing here. Okay. So So first thing you have to do is you have to find the anchor image. So for the stylized shoe, so one thing I do is for all the put it over here. So okay, so for all the film photos I shoot, for all the film, you know what? For those of you that's listening right now, if you can, if it's fine, somebody shoot me a message on Facebook. I just want to make sure you guys can see the screen while I edit. Because I can't, because I can't. Hold on one second. So okay, so for those of you, if you can see, sorry, I'm having a little trouble with the Lightroom, and there's a huge lag between what you guys seeing and what I'm saying. So, all right, let's just go for it. I think it's working, so let's just go for it. Okay, let me just minimize on my screen right here. Screen share. Let me see here. All right. So I think that's working right now. So let's just go with it. All right. So if it's not working for some reason, whoever wants to text me, that's my number. You can go and text me, let me know that, or send me a message on Facebook. Just let me know it's not working. I'm looking at my messages on my phone. So if okay, somebody just messaged. Thank you, Lindsay. All right, cool. All right, thank you, Marissa. Awesome, cool. All right, cool, awesome. Thank you, guys. Okay, let's do this. Okay, all right, cool. So first thing you have to do, first thing that I do is when I get my film scans back, I import into its own folder. You can see I create a folder. It's called film and a digital right here. So and what another thing I do is for film, I actually color everything in blue. So it's very quickly I can separate out my film photos. Let me take that out. So very quickly I can look at all my film photos. I get really good, so I don't get mixed up because sometimes when I'm looking at my photos, it will take me a few seconds to realize which one's digital, which one's film. So this way, by looking at the color, it's very quick process for me to find the anchor image. So for the shoe, we actually did reshoot or double shoot each condition. So now this is the film photo, and this is the digital. So it is the same lighting condition. Basically, we just ask the models to walk towards us one more time. So here's what you're gonna do. So first, you're gonna do pick your anchor image, and you're gonna go this little screen, the 2 right here, and you're gonna go to locked. Okay. All right. I'm gonna do that one more time. Okay. So basically, you're gonna pick whatever picture you want to be as the anchor image, right? So let's say I'm gonna do this one. So you go right here. Just click on it and you can go locked. Okay, so once you're locked in, that is my my anchor image. It doesn't move. I can drag it around my screen and all that. Okay, so now next one, I'm gonna go to my digital. Okay, so film on left, digital on right. So this is how I do my matching. So let me just kind of minimize it, just make it a little smaller right here. Okay, so I'm going to go to my development module. Okay, here we go. Another trick I do is if I go, you can press Y, which is before the letter Y on your keyboard, which is before and after. So that way I put my matching photo on the left, because otherwise you have to kind of cover up what you're doing out there. So I just can put it on the left, and I can zoom in and out right here, and then I can always see both files at the same time. Okay, just a little trick I do. So here. So this one I imported a photo, but purposely I did not apply a preset because I want to show you guys what it looks like just from scratch. So let's look at the meta data over here. So this shot I took. Okay. So okay, 500 per second at f1.6. I really never take it off. 1.6, 15 millimeter ISO 400. So I'm kind of weird in the way that I actually rate my my digital camera the same way I rate my film. So if it's a 400 film, if it's I go 400, 800, 1600, 3200. So it kind of keeps my head kind of in the 1 meter. It kind of gives me the same reference as a film camera. So anyway, so this one, my white balance, let's go back to right here to develop module. Um, my white balance, as you can see, is 6,000. So it is how I shoot all the time. So 6,000 right here. At 1.2, I think I overshot it just a tad. So some of the details are lost in the dress. So first thing you want to look at when you look at digital and film matching is that you have to look at exposure. So that's this. I want to say mine just a little over, but I'm not gonna do anything yet because remember once you apply the preset, it actually makes the photo look a little brighter. Remember that? So let's apply the preset and see what happens. So this one is applied. Is shot a portrait 400. I usually, like I said, I usually a Fuji guy, but because of flat lighting, so I just want to try. I just shot some portrait, just kind of get it just a little warmer, a little more contrast. I feel I felt that was the right choice for the given the light condition that we have. So anyway, so first one I'm gonna apply portrait 400. So did you guys catch that? I'll do it one more time. So portrait 400. So you can see it automatically got brighter. Do you see that? So that's why I said I overshot it because I kind of knew once I applied the preset, it's gonna be too bright. So so right there. So once I apply the preset, now I know okay, I really overshot it. So I'm gonna bring it back just a little bit. So kind of like maybe right there. That looks about right. So the next thing I do is I go. So remember exposure, white balance, and tint, right? So I'm gonna go in. So next thing I'm gonna look at skin tone. So this obviously this looks it is scanned by the Fine Lab, by the way. So it's a lot warmer than this shot, even though it's shot at 6,000. So I'm gonna want to warm this up just a little bit to try to match the warmth of that photo. Okay, right there, that looks pretty good. So now next one is gonna just kind of. This is why you kind of had to shoot film to understand this. I see this photo. I can see there is the film shot is it's got a little more tint and magenta than this shot. See the rock in the back. It's kind of red and it's kind of purple, kind of magenta looking. So kind of know that. And also the grass in the back, it's got more of a green to it. So to combat green, you need to add more magenta. So I usually zoom in quite a bit just because I want to get my skin tone correct. And you can look at here, there's quite a bit of magenta in her skin tone. This is kind of really warm. So so I'm going to bump up the magenta just a little bit right here. It's a little too much. So maybe like right there. Okay. So overall, looks pretty close. And so my kind of my the way I gauge a photo if it's close is the skin tone. So I look at a skin tone, and if the skin tone's pretty close, I'm pretty happy with it. So this one maybe just a tad too warm. I'm bring back the warmth just a little bit. Maybe right there. So right there, and then I'm gonna go. So next one, because I kind of blew the highlight, remember earlier, so I'm gonna do a highlight soft. That's gonna bring some of the highlight back. I don't know if you saw that, but I'll do it one more time. So see the highlights blown right here. So I'm gonna do a highlight soft. See the detail just came right back. So right there, I'm gonna go in and look at the skin tone one more time. So so I'm gonna just bump it just a tad warmer right there. That's good. And so last thing I'm gonna do is apply medium format grain because I shot out of contact. So here you go. So it's pretty much as close as I'm gonna get. So that's my first match right there. And I'll show you before and after. So again, and we talked about this in the group today. Don't get so hung up on getting 100% exact match. Your client's never gonna see these two side by side. They're essentially the same photo. So there's no point giving your clients both of this side by side, exactly the same photo. So you're gonna just pick one and give it to them. And the only reason why we're doing this is just kind of show you guys how you can really match digital to film. So all right, so here you go. So I'm gonna do a before and after. Okay, and I'm talking about editing. If I'm just doing this by myself, it's literally a 5-second edit. So again, before and after, I'm going to show you the anchor image one more time. Oh, oops. Okay, so right here. So here's the match. Okay, pretty darn close. All right, so now I'm gonna go to the next one. So I'm gonna edit a detail photo. Let me see if I can find one here. Here we go. So here, here's a shot done on film. This was a shot on Fuji 400. It's a fun workshop I did with Kirk Mastin back in late last year over in Palm Springs. So this is the film shot of the tablescape that we did. And so again, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna lock it in. Normal lock it. So this is gonna be my my anchor image. I'm gonna call it a digital photo. So that's my digital. I'm going to do before and after right here. So okay, so as you can see, it's pretty darn close straight on the camera. This is an edited photo, it's straight on the camera. So when we talked about earlier, you have to get it right in camera. That's why it will save you so much time trying to edit this afterwards. So this one I shot in Fuji. So we're gonna go apply Fuji for Canon neutral. Okay, so again, I usually do this upon import. So I didn't do this because I want to show you what it looks like from scratch. So so let's assume I've applied 400H neutral when I import it. So now it obviously is overexposed. Bring it back just a little bit. All right there. I'm gonna go all hard, see what that looks like. Maybe all soft. Yeah, so see, I went all hard. It doesn't look like the lighting condition anymore. So I went all soft, and you see how it balances out the dark shadow and also the harsh light coming from the left of the photo. So I'm gonna show you one more time. So look, that's all hard, and that's all soft. So all soft right away. Once I click it, it's very closest to the film photo. So it's a little on the cool side, I want to say, because you can see a lot warmer in the wood. There's kind of orange tone to it. It's a little more duller here, I guess. So right here, I'll bump it just a tad. Okay, that's pretty close. So I'm gonna do one last thing is I'm gonna apply the medium format grain. Um, so one thing with digital is obviously it picks up colors, like really vibrant colors. So this one, if you really want to get really super anal about it, you can actually go in and kind of tone down the magenta on the. You see that's it's supposed to be a little red, is a little too magenta. You can actually go in and then saturation, turn down the purple. I'm sorry, not purple. I think it's magenta. Turn on magenta. Turn on magenta, maybe like turn up the red just a little bit. I'll turn up the red. Very rarely do I even touch this down here because again, it's not meant for 100% exact match. If I put this, side by side with the client, they would never be able to tell which one's which one's film, which one's digital. Okay, so again, right there, it's pretty close. Back up, back up. So all right, so there you go. Okay, I'll do one more match, and then I think you get the idea. Oh, one thing really cool. I want to show you the new black and white pack for Fuji. I mean for Mastin preset. Let's say if like this photo right here, it's literally one click. Watch this. My go-to one is the Pan F. So Pan F A medium format. So right here, one click. And I'm probably bringing back the highlight just a little bit. So highlight soft. Come back down just a little bit. So right there, so I can do Pan A, Pan F. I'm going to right here with Delta 3200, which is going to be really grainy. So it's just a one-click edit for the black and white as well. Okay, so I'm going to do one more matching. It will be good here. Let's see. Let's see. let's see that one. Okay, so this one, so we're gonna I'm gonna lock it with normal. I'm sorry, lock it. Okay, so I'm gonna try to match this photo right here. Okay, all right, here you go. So this one was shot again. It was towards the end of the night. It was a little cooler, and then I'm still shooting as I think I bumped it to about 77,000, 7,300 here. Just 'cause it was getting so dark, and it just all my images starting to look really really blue. So I try to warm it up just a little bit. So this one is showing Fuji. So I'm going to do Fuji 400. Oh, actually, you know what? Before I do that, I'm gonna show you one trick. So maybe you don't know this, maybe you do. So if you want to match the white balance real quickly, you click on this little Doppler right here. So you pick a target neutral. Usually they want like a neutral gray. See that? So I'm gonna do one more time. So basically, you just kind of pick what you think the neutral gray should be, and it will give you a more accurate color very quickly. So that one's a little too warm, it looks like. So I'm going to bump it on just a little bit. But so that's another little quick trick to get your white balance dialed in. So all right, so right here, you're going to go Fuji Pro. I'm going to go neutral. This one again, I'm probably going to go all soft just because that's kind of what this one looks like. I'm going to try all hard first. Yeah, that's too much. Yeah, so I'm going to go all soft. Brought back all the details right here. It's still a little underexposed. You can see it's just from the image. So I'm going to bump it up just a little bit. Right there, looks about right, and I'm gonna bump the warmth just a tad while keeping the dress still perfectly white. And I'm gonna apply medium format grain, and you can see the greens are really quite matching up. See how vibrant that green is. So I'm gonna go back here and kind of dial down the green just a tad right here. We can do a luminance as well. So just kind of dial it down just a little bit. Okay. So again, I just don't typically do that. I just if you want to do that, fine tune, that's fine. But if I have something to match it, try to get as close as possible. So so there you go. Those are the matches that for this photo. Again, if that's a before and after right here, show just a little bigger before and after. Okay. So all right, I'm gonna throw it back to the slideshow here. Give me 1 second. So okay, great. So that's about the entire presentation. Oh, thank you guys. You guys all tell me you can see the photo. Great, thank you guys. All right, so so that's the entire presentation I have for you guys today. It's about 1 hour. Oh yeah, we're around the dot here. So I'll take some questions. Did somebody already put some questions in the events page? I'm gonna go back and read it right now. Oh, so Ronaldo want to ask if I shoot a box speed or overexposed. I shoot Fuji 400 and I rate it at 100, so I guess I'm overexposed by 2 stops. Yeah, I just like that bright and airy look. So next one, Kirk mentioned. So Brittany Carney, Kirk mentioned I take a very specific approach in regards to white balance. Yeah, so I shoot a 6,000, and it gets dialed back into about 5,200 usually during daylight. I'm curious to see here how you maintain a classic look of film while at the same time remaining fresh and interesting to clients in the world. Ever change? All right, we'll discuss it later. I want to keep it just a preset. That's kind of more philosophical approach. That's definitely an interesting topic. So Tora Horn wants to talk about dealing with difficult matches and Noritsu scans. You guys can ask Kirk. Kirk designed this preset to work with Frontier Scanner. So I don't know what the difference is because honestly all my films being scanned by Frontier, so I couldn't tell the difference. But that sounds like it would be a question for Kirk Mastin. Okay. There's a big workflow question. I'll answer that later. Do I use and Shannon sells Oh, Salas, I think Stanley. Do you use default import settings before you use these presets? Yeah, I import everything on Fuji 400H. Okay. I think that's about all the questions that we had. Um, this presentation is being recorded right now, so you guys will be able to see it on YouTube afterwards. Hopefully you guys found it useful. Thanks to everybody that attended. Hopefully answered a lot of your questions. I'll take more questions back in the group events page. Other than that, thank you guys so much. I'm gonna lose my voice over here. So thanks again. Looking forward to meeting you guys soon. All right, talk to you later. Bye.